A very good morning, all of you. Welcome to our day 6, 5 a.m. club. Today is Sunday. Happy Sunday to all of you. So we'll start with meditation. We'll spend some few minutes over there, and then we'll discuss something which is general yet relevant to each and every one of us. And the reference will be a general book, which I'll let you know in few moments from now. So I hope you guys are all ready, and a very good morning, everyone. Let's start. She's really disturbing me. Okay, guys. So let's go ahead with our presentation now. In fact, I'll be going through my hard copy. So for your convenience, I have uploaded some of the images in the form of soft copy. Uh, it's a presentation, short presentation, which you can go through while I'll be reviewing this particular piece of literature. Okay. So Toffee, please say good morning to everyone. And you can carry on with your meditation. Toffee has been meditating all night. So let's give her even more time. Is it fine, Toffee? Yeah. So first of all, the reference which I'm going through, this is one of my favorite books, The Genie Within Your Subconscious Mind by Harry Carpenter. So I've gone through this. I read this book last year. So I'm taking out some interesting and points which I feel are relevant to each and every one of us, especially during these challenging times. So we'll review this literature and see what we can learn from the same. So first and foremost, as I said, The Genie Within, and I would suggest all of you to go through this book. And it's an amazing book, right? So it's all about understanding self. So as you can see, the law of expression states that every thought causes a physical reaction in the body. We often think that there is no relation. Thoughts are thoughts, something to do with psychology, and they have nothing to do with physiology. We are under such assumption, even though we experience the relations on day-to-day basis. Good news, we're excited. Bad news, we're depressed, right? Affecting our heart rate, cardiac output, even urinary function. Okay, so the law of expression states that every thought causes a physical reaction in the body. Close your eyes and imagine biting into a succulent lemon. Your lips pucker and you salivate. Close your eyes and imagine someone scraping their fingernails across a blackboard. The sound sends shivers down your spine. Ever read a book or seen a movie about a poignant love story and got choked up? These reactions are examples of law of expression. The mind and the body are one. Therefore, what affects one affects the other. Professor William James, a famous psychologist, stated, the fact is that there is no sort of consciousness whatever, be it sensation, feeling, or idea, which does not directly and of itself tend to discharge into some motor effect. The motor effect need not always be an outer stroke of behavior. It may be only an alteration of a pulse or breathing or a modification in distribution of blood, such as blushing or turning pale or whatnot. But in any case, it is there in some shape when any consciousness is there, and a belief as fundamental as any in modern psychology is the belief at last attained that conscious processes of any sort, conscious processes merely as such, must pass over into motion, open or concealed. Every thought or idea causes a physical reaction. If stimuli are allowed to pass from the conscious mind to the subconscious mind and are accepted, the idea or thought must be expressed vocally or physically. If it is consciously repressed, then the thought will be expressed physically. For example, if you worry, it can lead to ulcers. If your anger releases adrenaline accompanied by changes in circulation, energy, pulse, respiration, etc. Fear translates to nervousness, stomach upset, which we experience during exam or before exam or after exam or before results, whatnot. Food is often expressed as hunger. So more than 100 years ago, a doctor conducted an experiment on a man who was shot in the stomach. The surgeon offered the man room and board in his house if the man agreed to leave the hole into his stomach open for a period so the surgeon could examine the condition of his stomach. By evaluating the stomach secretions, the surgeon found that all moods affected the man's digestion. In a study conducted at Harvard by Dr. W.B. Cannon, found that love, consciously cultivated, caused the eyes to brighten, improved circulation, digestion, and elimination, whereas fear, envy, and hate caused the opposite effects. These negative thoughts also cut down on production of red blood cells. Organ language, discussed in the previous lesson, is also an example of a recurring thought that is expressed organically. Dr. H.F. Dunbar stated in Emotion and Body Changes, emotion indulged in for a prolonged time actually creates tissue changes in the organ or organ system involved. Bales stated it beautifully in a book written more than 30 years ago. Before it was scientifically approved scientifically, man thinks with his entire body. Every cell has a spark of mind. Man is not a body containing a mind, he is mind operating through a body. Body is molded by mind. What the mind thinks, the body thinks. That which the body thinks, it becomes. Bales related a case he had in which his patient did not like his in-laws, but his wife insisted on walking to their house every Sunday. The patient repressed his dislike, and since every repressed thought has a physical reaction, he developed arthritis to the extent he had an excuse to stay home. This is very interesting, and it's in fact we've seen many of such cases. We've heard many of such cases, at least through television. So today there are many books written for the layman on the mind-body link. A few of the well-known authors include Borisenko, Pert, Dossi, Chopra, Pelletier, Pert, Dossi describe in the books how all our cells talk to our subconscious mind. Remember the old saying, if you're not happy, act like you're happy and you'll become happy. Well, medical science has proven the old axiom. Organic compositions similar to those used by the brain to think are found in all cells. So communication is both ways, that is brain to cell and cell to brain. If you think you're unhappy, you act unhappy, you frown and act glum. But if you act happy when you're sad, the neurotransmitters from the cells in your body travel back to the brain and change its mood to happy. Isn't that great news? So they've mentioned an illustration about natural energy cycle within us, within any life form. So first, your body stores energy. The conscious mind gets a strong thought. You express the thought, the body relaxes to restore its energy. Expressed energy. Now let's see what this expressed energy and repressed energy is all about. And also we'll see the factors leading to chronic stress. What happens if there is repressed energy? So first, expressed energy. Look at an age-old example. A caveman wakes after a restful night of sleep. He has restored his energy. He sees a saber-toothed tiger browsing outside his cave. He is immediately concerned for the lives of his family and himself. He has a strong thought. He gets an adrenaline rush. His body responds with fight or flight reaction. He must defend his family. So he elects to fight. After much spear waving and a skirmish, the tiger is driven away. The caveman has expressed his idea through physical action to fight off the tiger. With directed action, that evening he is at peace and regains his energy with a night of restful sleep. And the cycle starts over, as we have seen. Directed energy is an orderly, healthy release of physical and emotional energy. It is any act that is in harmony with the idea that originated it. Psychologists recommend that when you get mad, you should express your anger in some way, not in a violent way, but in a constructive way. Express it by talking or writing about it or by running around the block, for example. It is unhealthy to bottle up anger. When you do not express it in some way, this emotional energy is suppressed. And what happens when that happens? So, suppressed energy. You're on the freeway driving to an important job interview. Traffic comes to a halt, you're bumper to bumper, and no off a ramp is in view. You no longer live in a cave, but you have the same body and response system as your caveman ancestors. When faced with an emergency or unsettling situation, your fight or flight response kicks into action. The kidneys release adrenaline, heart rate increases, digestion stops, to name a few of the reactions. Maybe pupils are dilated. Yet all you can do is sit in your car and get more upset thinking about being late for your interview. You imagine you will lose this fantastic new job. And by the way, as we have been discussing right from the beginning, your subconscious mind doesn't know the difference between real and imagined. This energy could be expressed by a primal scream, but the drivers in the cars near you might think you're crazy. If you cannot express the energy at the time your if you cannot express the energy at the time your fight or flight response occurs, at least express it as soon as you get a chance. When you get home, you might go for a walk, punch a bag, clean the house. In this way, no or little harm is done to your body. The energy is expressed and you can sleep soundly. When an event that triggers your flight or flight response occurs continuously or often, and the energy is not expressed, the energy is repressed. Every thought or idea causes a physical reaction. So, this repressed energy will be expressed as undirected activities such as tension and anxiety, which often happens when we are dealing with important tasks such as entrance preparation. Tension and anxiety prevent relaxation of inner muscles, which hinders immune system, interferes with restful sleep. So the natural energy cycle is broken and restful restorative sleep is impeded. And this goes on, creating more complex web of reactions, both physically and psychologically. So now let's look into this next segment, chronic stress. The body will find a physical outlet for repressed energy, such as fidgeting, nail biting, finger tapping, gum chewing, etc. I'm sure you remember Saurav Ganguly during tennis matches. He has, many of us for that matter, have this habit of nail biting. If it persists, the outlet may become ulcers, high blood pressure, headaches, or worse. Woody Allen expressed this law another way. One of my problems is that I internalize everything. I can't express anger. I grow a tumor instead. Surveys of doctors have shown that many believe as much as 90% of the patients suffer from chronic fatigue. Dr. Hans Selye, 1907-1982, professor and director of Institute of Experimental Medicine and Surgery, University of Montreal, was first to use the word stress in reference to human body. During 30 years of research, he wrote 1,600 papers, 33 books, including The Stress of Life for Non-Professionals. You should check it out. Dr. Selye proved that repressed stress wears the body down until it becomes sick. In his classical experiments, animals were wired so that they could be given mild electric shocks. He administered the shocks sporadically so the animals did not know when they were coming. Although the shocks were not severe enough to cause any harm, the anxiety of not knowing when they were coming caused stress. When this condition went on long enough, the stress impaired their immune system. Animals became vulnerable to disease because of compromised immunity. A corollary of this is commonly observed in humans. After a spouse dies and the mate mourns too long, the mate's immune system becomes impaired and he or she becomes ill and often dies. And this is something which we heard several times, or maybe even experienced it in our with our family and friends. One of the person dies, the spouse dies almost immediately or after a couple of days, a couple of weeks. In fact, this happened even to my grandparents. My grandfather expired, and within a few months, even my grandmother expired. Even though the age difference was so much, but still, it's surprising, right? Yeah. Other examples were given in lesson 3, including the woman who, after a prolonged resentment of her sister, developed breast cancer. This last example points out why it is important to forgive. Forgive not for the benefit of transgressor, but for yourself. And this is something which is very, very important. Ultimately, it's about finding peace within self. Harbored resentment breaks the natural cycle, impairs your immune system. Dr. McDonald, a coroner, said in an article that appeared in Los Angeles Times about 30 years ago, he found what he was looking for: healed cancer areas in all the cadavers he ever examined. This implies that we all have cancer cells in our bodies, as you know, which form and are destroyed almost every day. So when healthy and allowed to function properly, prevent their growth. So this implies that we have cancer cells in our bodies, but our immune systems, when healthy and allowed to function properly, prevent their growth. Most of the time, fortunately, cancer cells grow only when the immune system is impaired. A story from one of the James Harriet's books vividly shows the effect of chronic pain and stress. James Harriet was a veterinarian in Yorkshire, England. PBS aired a series for 2 years called All Things Great and Small based on these books. James Harriet was calling on a miserly farmer. Harriet noticed an Eve that was in obvious pain. A cursory examination showed she had an infected uterus. This is very interesting. I'm able to recollect. So the farmer did not want to pay for treating the Eve because he thought she would not survive anyway. Harriet felt obliged to do something for the poor beast, so he suggested that he give her some vitamins at no charge. Harriet did not give the Eve vitamins. Instead, he gave her what he thought was enough: Nembutal, or whatever chemical veterinarians use for euthanasia, to put her out of her misery. Weeks later, he met the farmer at a local pub. The farmer told Harriet those vitamins sure did the trick. The Eve slept for 3 days, and when she woke up, she was cured. Harriet thought deeply about the healing and concluded this: every animal, including ourselves, we're social animals, including man or woman, has the ability to cure itself if given the chance. This poor Eve was in so much pain and fear that her immune system and its curative powers shut down, allowing the infection to flourish. The injection put her to sleep for 3 days. Asleep, she felt no pain or fear. Without pain and fear, her immune system took over and cured her naturally. So this is not a miracle, it's all science. Chronic tension and anxiety interfere with everyone's immune system. Now you have another strong reason why you should not be constantly be worried or tensed about something. This is why deep relaxation and deep sleep are important. It gives our body an opportunity to regenerate and revitalize itself. Spending 8 hours in bed does not necessarily mean you're getting proper sleep. Some people sleep 8 hours but get up grouchy and complain of being tired. These people are not getting enough deep, restful sleep. They're not fully relaxing the inner core of muscles, and these inner muscles are relaxed to a subconscious mind. People who reach deeper levels of sleep need less sleep than those who do not fully relax, and it cannot be farther from truth. In fact, 3 hours, 4 hours, but still I see some of them very active and enthusiastic. So it's not about fixed duration of hours, it's about the depth of sleep and various other factors. So I think we're coming to the final aspect: reaction to stress. Dr. Selly found that reaction, fight or flight response, or as he called it, the general adaptation syndrome, the stressful stimuli, is the same for everyone. But importantly, everyone does not react to a given stressful stimulus in the same way. Take the hypothetical examples of John and Alice, who have similar jobs and work for same boss. The boss is arrogant, grumpy, impersonal, and demanding. John cannot stand the boss and gets upset after every confrontation. Moreover, he gets upset every time he thinks of his job. John constantly complains about his boss and his job. After a year on his job, John has ulcers, his blood pressure is high. Alice reacts differently. She analyzes the situation and concludes her boss is acting from fear. He's afraid of losing his job. He is also having family problems and is probably afraid of losing his wife or maybe of paying alimony. Once Alice understands this, she realizes that she is not the problem. Knowing this, she does not take his criticisms or grumpiness personally. Alice remains cheerful, productive, and a healthy employee. To recap, no idea can remain secret in subconscious mind. Ideas crystallize and must be expressed directly or indirectly in a positive, healthy way. Right? So, this is what I wanted to share with you in today's 5 a.m. session. I hope you enjoyed this literary read. And of course, with experience, we learn even much better. So, this is just to give you some inputs and to highlight one simple point that chronic stress or anxiety, feeling tensed or worry leads us nowhere. Apart from that, today we have seen with so many examples that it affects our physical health, our emotional health, and it further complicates the problems which we are already think we are having, right? So I hope you got the message. And for any further queries or assistance or guidance, feel free to get back through mail 24/7. So wish you all a fantastic day ahead. Happy Sunday once again. And I just wanted to ask you this question. Day one, today is day 6. Are you observing or experiencing any difference? Waking up early in the morning, is that making any difference? So ask yourself this question. And if the answer is yes, if it is making a lot of positive difference, then you have every reason to continue the same. We all have every reason to continue the same, isn't it? Okay, guys. So wish you all the best. Love you all. Have a fantastic day ahead. Take care. Hi, Swadhina. Very good morning. Hi, Dr. Nidhi, Chobana, Tejal, Pooja, Harita, Felicia. Hi, a very good morning. Hi, Gunjan, Sefali, Vasuki. Hi, a very good morning. Sefali says good morning to you as well. I'm sorry, Toffee is in deep sleep. She is relaxing her inner muscles. Hi, Neil. Okay, guys. Take care.